all for coming this afternoon. We're going to have a few brief comments, and after these comments, we'll take a few questions. We'll be limited on the things that we can talk about, but we just wanted to answer everyone's questions at one time. Pursuant to Article 2.03 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, prosecutors must bring notice to the grand jury of violations of the law, neglect or failure of duty on the part of any officer. Together with the Travis County District Attorney's Office and the Austin Police Department's Special Investigations Unit, we brought this information to a Williamson County grand jury. On June 19th of 2020, Ms. Moore and I issued a joint statement informing the community of our shared purpose in obtaining long-deserved answers for the family of Javier Ambler. As that investigation continued, the Williamson County grand jury heard from 19 different witnesses. On Friday, the grand jury for the 277th District Court of Williamson County, Texas, returned an indictment for tampering with physical evidence in the investigation of the death of Mr. Ambler against Williamson County Sheriff Robert Chody and Williamson County Assistant Attorney Jason Nasur. This offense is a third-degree felony, which carries a punishment range of 2 years to 10 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Institutional Division or probation, and up to a $10,000 fine. Both Sheriff Chody and Jason Nasur were arrested and released on bond earlier today, and they will have their first court date on November 30th of 2020. Remind everyone here, Texas law requires that we put all the names of the witnesses that testified in grand jury on the indictments themselves. So for those of you that have copies of the indictment, all 19 witnesses' names are listed on the indictment. It's important that we want to remind everyone that those witnesses are not to be harassed, coerced, threatened, or intimidated in any way, because that is in and of itself another felony offense. And by any person, those witnesses need to be left alone. With that, I'm going to turn over the next section to our Travis County District Attorney, Margaret Moore, to let you know what the developments are on the Travis County side.
Can you identify yourself, please?
Oh, sorry. My name is Shawn Dick. I'm the Williamson County District Attorney.
Good afternoon. I'm Margaret Moore, Travis County District Attorney. That's M-A-R-G-A-R-E-T-M-O-O-R-E. As District Attorney Dick said, this has been a joint investigation, and I want to thank the Williamson County District Attorney's Office for all of the courtesies that they have shown our office. I believe it's been in the best interest of both counties that we've been working together. Later on in October, a Travis County District Court will call and panel a special grand jury. Judge Cliff Brown has set the date for that impaneling in the third week of October. After they are seated, the first order of business will be to continue the presentation of evidence regarding the tampering case that has now been indicted here in Williamson County. That grand jury will then be in a position to begin hearing evidence as to the death of Javier Ambler after the first of the year. And this has been a very lengthy process, and I know to some people it seems too lengthy. But there's an important piece of evidence, a critical piece of evidence that has to be about which the public has a right to know. So that grand jury, as I said, will be paneled at the latter part of October, and we'll begin hearing evidence, we hope, beginning in November. Shawn, I'm going to let Shawn answer what questions you've got for him, and then I'll be standing by.
Shawn,
Yes, we'll take a few questions.
in regards to the indictment, do you have physical evidence, or is the indictment based solely on testimony?
I can't go into specifics about what it's based on, but as you can tell by the indictment, what we're after are video and audio recordings, obviously based out of the television show Live PD.
No, I understand that, but in regards to any type of action and justifying the indictment, is there text message, an email, or is it based on testimony from someone saying that the sheriff did this?
So again, we're going to have to be careful because I can't talk about specifics of the case. Our ethical rules prevent us from really getting into details. That will all become apparent and available as the proceedings go on. But suffice it to say, we spent several months putting all this together and presenting a large number of witnesses to the grand jury. And a grand jury in Williamson County believed there was probable cause to believe that these offenses were committed within Williamson County. It will continue in Travis County to determine what offenses were committed in Travis County.
Can you say more about the first indictment, his involvement, and his involvement simply the night of the incident or afterwards? What's his involvement?
So a Williamson County grand jury had to determine that there was a venue in Williamson County to believe that crimes were also committed in Williamson County. And so I know publicly it's been released that Mr. Nasur was on scene the night of Mr. Ambler's death. But obviously the Williamson County grand jury has determined there were acts taken in Williamson County that led to their charging with tampering with evidence.
Have you spoken to the Ambler family at all? And if so, can you share their reaction upon the indictment?
So I haven't had the opportunity to speak with the Ambler family. That relationship was developed with the Travis County DA's office, so they would have to kind of address that issue at the appropriate time.
The indictment says conceal or destroy. With respect to Sheriff Jody, do you have any evidence that he destroyed any audio, video recording, ordered it to be destroyed? What's the level of involvement?
Well, I think they've both been charged as an individual or as a party to this offense. And so that's as far as I can say right now.
Shawn, can you talk about when this might go to trial and anything specifically about in what way tampering occurred?
So I can't talk about specifics about how the tampering occurred at the moment, but certainly that's evidence that we'll all lay out at some point. As far as a trial, it's a little premature. You know, obviously the courthouse is already dealing with coronavirus and the issues that go along with coronavirus. So we do have a setting right now for November 30th. That setting will be to sort of determine the timetable from that point moving forward. And right now that hearing is probably scheduled to be a virtual hearing.
John, are you concerned about the timing of this indictment? This is a highly publicized case that people are very well about. And I would like to continue on the first preliminary hearing, probably going to have the actual evidence, what it is. Is it going to be until after the election? Are you concerned that, why not wait until after the election?
Sure. You know, I've thought long and hard about timing, right? First of all, let's make it very clear, we didn't choose this timing. You know, this incident happened a long time ago. The Williamson County District Attorney's Office was just notified in May of 2020 of the death of Javier Ambler. At that time, we started to work with the Travis County DA's office. We found some information in June of 2020 that led us to start an investigation together. And so we've done that diligently, as rapidly as we could. There is no right answer because do you either hold on to this information through an election or do you do it before an election? And you just can't let that dictate your timetable. You have to do what's right according to the law and the evidence. And all the evidence has been presented to a Williamson County grand jury. We didn't have anything additional to present to a Williamson County grand jury, and they've returned an indictment. So the timing is not chosen. It's just the timing it is. We're just following the law and the evidence.
In his first statement since being released from jail, he did say that he felt this was engineered by y'all. What's your response to that?
You know, obviously people that are charged with indictments always want to come up with some explanation or some sinister plot behind it. I think anyone that knows me knows that I'm driven very much by what's right and what's wrong and what the evidence tells us. And so that's what we've been, that's what I was elected to do, was to make sure that those that we believe have committed crimes are held accountable in an appropriate fashion. So I'm just here doing my job. And let's remember, this is, you know, a Williamson County grand jury. Citizens have heard evidence and have returned an indictment.
Actually, so many of those people heard that evidence, all those witnesses, those 19 witnesses heard all that evidence. How long did it take to come back with that indictment? What was the time frame?
The investigation's been going on for several months. I can't get into specifics about grand jury and how that is conducted. But obviously our investigation's been going on for 3 months. It took 19 witnesses, so you can imagine what kind of time frame that would take.
Who notified you about Javier Alvarez's death?
Actually, the first conversation we had was with Mr. Guilford, the chief of the Civil Rights Division in Travis County. To be honest with you, I think what happened is Sheriff Chody decided to go back on the live PD in April of 2020, and I made some comments, about the television show returning and what we would need in our office to prosecute those cases. And I think that's the first time that the Travis County DA's office realized that we knew a lot about live PD, how to obtain evidence from live PD, and how that process would work. And that's when Mr. Guilford reached out to us for help, honestly, in just trying to secure that evidence.
Can you just talk about the decision to bring charges or investigate or not live PD, since they were in possession, presumably, of
So I'm sorry, I heard the first part of the question.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just asking about the investigation involving live PD. Did the investigation at any point target live PD, and was there a deliberate decision to not charge live PD?
So I can only speak to Williamson County. Obviously, there's a pending investigation that's going on in Travis County. My interest was not in pursuing a company out of New York. My interest was in to find out what happened here in Williamson County and determine what actions were taken here in Williamson County. So obviously there's actions to engage live PD, but as far as Williamson County was concerned, that wasn't something that we were pursuing.
So the Texas Government Code gives you explicit authority to petition the district court for removal, which could lead to the suspension of an elected official, a sheriff in this case. Do you have any plans to petition the district court if Mr. Chody does not decide to step down while this gets cleared up? Do you have any plans to seek his removal or suspension?
I don't have any plans to seek Sheriff Chody's removal. My intention is to pursue the criminal charges that we have and to present the case that a grand jury has indicted onto a Williamson County jury.
Is it a good idea that he continue leading in this capacity while he's indicted on a felony in this process?
You know, as to whether or not Sheriff Chody should continue as a sheriff, I'll leave that for other people to decide. My job is simply to pursue the law and the evidence in this case.
Who was your lead investigator in this case for you?
So it was the Austin Police Department Special Investigation Unit.
Someone from your office that conducted the investigation?
Well, so it's a little bit of a misnomer, but my office can't really conduct investigations. I have 7 investigators to handle about 3,400 cases a year. So we depend on law enforcement agencies to do the investigations. So.
Has anything come from investigation into the sheriff's deputies?
So I'm sorry, I don't know the question.
Have y'all done any investigation as far as the deputies are involved and their use of force at all?
Oh, so you're referring to the use of force?
Yes.
Those are ongoing investigations.
Can you say, this may be an obvious question, but the tampering with evidence charge, can you say whether the evidence is the video, is it connected to the video from live PD?
Yes, the evidence that we're looking for is the video and audio evidence from live PD.
Okay.
Can we talk to Margaret about her?
Oh, go ahead. Didn't mean to step on you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just hoping that we could hear, since the next course of events will involve Travis County. I don't know if we were going to have an opportunity to ask.
Let's let him finish.
I'm sorry. Yes, thank you.
Oh, sure. Two-part question. One, is DeSour still in the county attorney's office? Two, to your knowledge, is the sitting Williamson County sheriff ever been indicted on a felony charge?
As to Mr. Nassour and his current status of employment, I don't know. You'd have to speak to Mr. Hobbs. He's the county attorney. I know that Mr. Nassour's position was eliminated in this year's budget, but as to whether or not Mr. Nassour was going to be moved to another position within the county attorney's office, I don't know. And I'm sorry, what was the second question?
To your knowledge, has Williamson County sheriff in office ever been indicted on a felony before?
I don't know the answer whether another sheriff has been indicted in Williamson County before. I know when I first moved here, we did have one of our previous sheriffs was removed from office.
Sparrow?
Yes, Sheriff Maspero. Anything else for me? All right, Ms. Moore.
I'll take a few questions, but if this is very much an ongoing investigation, we won't be able to go into specifics at all.
In
more, again, this is in connection with Javier Ambler's death. Have you spoken to Javier Ambler's family, or do you have anything to say to Javier Ambler's family?
We have met with the Ambler family, and we are in communication with their attorney.
Margaret, how does the tampering factor into the Travis County case? If the tampering took place in Williamson County, why are you looking at it?
Well, we believe that there are facts supporting tampering in Travis County. The reason this has to come first is because the live PD video would be wholly material to the investigation and to the use of force.
APD took control of the scene shortly after the lighting. Have you determined why the Austin Police Department did not do this video? The crew was there. The crew was there with APD. Without the APD testing. So have you determined why they were allowed to walk away with the videotape by APD?
That's a specific I'm not going to be able to go into.
Do you know why?
We're conducting a very thorough investigation.
Okay, whereas Sheriff Chody, are there any plans to call Sheriff Chody to Travis County and testify before the grand jury?
We traditionally extend an invitation to targets to testify if they wish to.
Do you expect, given what you had historically with the level of cooperation, do you expect to see Sheriff Chody before the grand jury?
I have no idea. He's got a lawyer who I'm sure we'll be discussing it with.
Margaret, do you hope to have an answer before you leave office in November? And if not, what is your hope after that?
My expectation is that this particular aspect of the case could easily be resolved. I mean, the grand jury portion could be completed before I leave office. I have already announced that I think it appropriate for the incoming district attorney to present the use of force case. Thank you.